Welcome to Protagonist Pub. My name is Tammy, and this is where characters gather. Let's talk about all of those wonderful choices. So first up would be the November book club choice. That is the Dubrovnik Book Club by Eva Glynn. I will link the announcement video down below. This is a cozy mystery set in Croatia. And I believe it's going to be my first ever book set in Croatia. I'm looking forward to it. I will update Discord this weekend with the chapters for the new book, and I am very much looking forward to it. So I hope you all join us, and that it lives up to that wonderful cover. I'm ecstatic, that's the one that we are reading. Okay, next up would be All in Good Time by Carolyn Asfalk. This is Catholic contemporary fiction, and it's been sitting on my Kindle for a while, beckoning me to read it. So I'm going to read you the blurb. It's also currently available on Kindle Unlimited. With 3 rambunctious young children, Melanie Lombardi can't see beyond the day-to-day struggle to maintain her home and her sanity since her husband's sudden death. A second chance at romance is not on her radar. Brian Perella is done with dating, resigned to being the fun uncle and never the dad. Until he meets Melanie and her brood of lively kids on the sidelines of a Little League game. But when Brian uncovers a coworker's secret, it reignites a temptation that Melanie can't know about. It's his secret to keep until an unexpected diagnosis brings everything to the surface, jeopardizing his future with Melanie and her children, who, when threatened by an unknown stalker, may need him now more than ever. I just think this sounds fantastic. It has been... I bought it a couple months ago before it was available on Kindle Unlimited, and it keeps popping up on my radar, which is, if you know me, books get lost on my Kindle all the time. This one keeps reasserting itself, so it is time to read it, and I am looking forward to it. Okay, next up would be the first in a series, and the only reason it's on my radar is I won the second in the series on Goodreads earlier this year, and I obviously cannot read book 2 unless I've read book 1, and that would be Uncanny Times by Laura Ann Gilman. This probably would have been about a read in October, had I thought about it. And this is the first in the Huntsman series. I will read you the back. Huntsmen, according to the church, were damned, their blood unclean and unholy. Yet for Rosemary and Aaron Harker, the church was less important than being ready to stand against the uncanny, as not being prepared could lead to being dead. The year is 1913. America and the world trembles on the edge of a modern age. Political and social unrest shifts foundations. Technology is beginning to make its mark. But in the shadows, things from the past still move. Things inhuman, uncanny. And the uncanny are no friend to humanity. When Aaron and Rosemary Harker go to investigate the suspicious death of a distant relative, what they discover could turn their world upside down and change the Huntsman forever. I think it sounds incredibly interesting. I'm willing to give it a shot. Obviously, I went and bought the book after winning, the second book in a series. So yeah. And I love that every chapter starts. There's this nice illustration in the corner. So, we shall see. I mean, the worst thing that happens is that, it's horrible and I DNF an entire series based on the first book. Next up is one I know I'm going to love. It's the second in the Hearts of the Gilded Age series, Hidden Hearts of the Gilded Age series by Crystal Cadell. That is Counterfeit Hope. I love this cover. I love this cover. I've been meaning to finish this series all year. I loved the first book. That is Counterfeit Love. And I will read you the back of this one. In fact, it's blurb by Jamie Jo Wright. I'll read you the blurb from Jamie Jo. If you love a good historical romance served up with adventure, move Counterfeit Hope to the top of your TBR pile. So, the back says, when Secret Service operative Andrew Darlington is brought into a case involving counterfeiters in rural Indiana, he thinks it's simply the next rung on his climb to the top of his career. But liars can only climb so high, and Andrew is keeping a dangerous secret. Too bad the criminal family that has taken over the town he's been sent to rescue are the very folks who could expose his hidden past. Widow and expert pickpocket Lou Thorne has only one goal: take her son and escape the sadistic grasp of her in-laws. Her decision to be an informant and testify against the Thornes was the perfect way to send them to jail and out of her life. Until the marshal ended up dead. Now the tether keeping her tied to her felonious family is tightening, and a forced marriage to someone else in the Thornes' clutches threatens to kill any hope of breaking free. Andrew and Lou find themselves on the same team unwillingly. Even if they learn to work together, their secrets could shatter all their dreams. Despite the local preacher's encouragement, they're not even sure God can be trusted, much less other fallible human beings, can either escape their past or the family willing to kill when they smell betrayal. I'm so here for this. Okay, next up would also be book 2 in a series. That would be In the Shelter of Hollythorn House by Sarah E. Ladd. This is historical fiction. It is the second in the Houses of Yorkshire series. The first one is Letters from Briarton Park, which I absolutely adored. I will not read you the back of this one, but yeah, this is undoubtedly one I'm going to sit down and read in one day. It's just slightly over 300 pages. It's not going to take me long. Oh, look, another second in a series. That would be The Treasures of an Heiress by Rosanna M. White. This is the second book in the Secrets of the Isles series. I love the cover. And I'm reading this one with Amanda, which is always a good time. So, yeah. I am very much looking forward to this. I loved the first book. We both did. So, this shall be fantastic. I already know this shall be fantastic. Okay, a couple more Goodreads wins. I just happened to randomly pull books today for this video. And apparently it was read the Goodreads books on your shelf pull. I'm okay with that. So the first one up is Never Date a Roommate by Paula Otonia. I'm sure I'm butchering that. Never read anything by her. This one is under 300 pages. It says a hilarious, heartwarming romance from celebrated Brazilian author Paula Otonai about finding happiness in unexpected places, maybe even in your very own apartment. To find true happiness, they'll have to fake it first. I love the bicycles on the back cover. That's just so cute. So, here's what the back says. Sol Carvalho, butchered that, desperately wants to get ahead in her career. And where better to do that than Copenhagen, the happiest city on earth. But there's more to this place than cozy sweaters and hot cocoa. There's a rich, vibrant culture the Brazilian game developer is eager to drink in. especially since her boss wants to hand a promotion to someone who's already put down roots in Denmark, which means having a steady place to live and an even steadier significant other. And Saul, unfortunately, has neither. Unless she can convince Viking lookalike Eric Storm to be her roommate, and maybe even her fake boyfriend. But Eric lost everything the last time he got involved with Roommate, including the app he developed. Convincing him to take a risk on her is a big ask, but Saul is up for the challenge, as long as she can ignore how he fills a room with that broad chest and somehow makes stoic brooding look sexy. Instead, she'll win him over with the end goal. Her promotion will bring down their mutual tech nemesis. Before long, though, the lines between what's fake and what's real blur, and when their ruse reaches its boiling point, they'll both have to decide, should they trust their hearts to a roommate this time? It sounds charming. It sounds nerdy. You know, there's text messages in here with emojis. It's got gaming. I'm looking forward to this. We'll see. Never know. I pulled The Engagement Party by Darby Kane. I know I mentioned this in a video here recently. It was one of the tag videos. And this one I think is just over 350 pages. 350 pages. 352. So it's not overly long. It's atmospheric for November. And we shall see if I like it. Again, another new to me author. Okay. Last Goodreads win for this pile. And this was in a recent book haul. That is Big Trouble on Sullivan's Island by Susan M. Boyer. This is a autographed hard copy. And I love that she included a bookmark that has all of the Liz Talbot mysteries listed on it. I've started it once and I got distracted by other things. This one is... How many pages is this one? Just over 300. So again, it's not overly long. And it is a contemporary romance. Does it say? It does not say. It says if you like strong heroines, quirky sisterhoods, and plenty of Southern charm, then you'll love Susan M. Boyer's wonderful whodunit. So, a Southern mystery. Yes, please. Okay. Last two choices. So it is nonfiction November, which isn't something I usually participate in, but I did buy this earlier this year. It is under 300 pages, as I recall. That is correct. It is, under 300 pages. That is Shakespeare Sisters by Rami Targoff, and I will read you the blurb because I think this is sounds fascinating. It says, How Women Wrote the Renaissance. In an innovative and engaging narrative of everyday life in Shakespeare's England, Rami Targoff carries us from the sumptuous coronation of Queen Elizabeth in the mid-16th century into the private lives of four women writers working at a time when women were legally the property of men. Some readers may have heard of Mary Sidney, accomplished poet and sister of the famous Sir Philip Sidney, but few would have heard of Amelia Lanier, the first woman in the 17th century to publish a book of original poetry, which offered a feminist take on the crucifixion, or Elizabeth Carey, who published the first original English play by a woman about the plight of the ancient Jewish princess Miriam. And then there was Anne Clifford, a lifelong diarist who fought for decades against the patriarchy that tried to rob her of her land in one of England's most infamous inheritance battles. These women had husbands and children to care for and little support for their art, yet against all odds they defined themselves as writers, finding rooms of their own where doors had always been shut. Targoff flings those doors open, revealing the treasures left by these extraordinary women. In the process, she helps us see the Renaissance in a fresh light, creating a richer understanding of history and offering a much-needed female perspective on life in Shakespeare's day. I am incredibly interested and incredibly leery all at the same time. She is a professor of humanities and a professor of English and co-chair of Italian studies at Brandeis University. So, a far left university. I am going into this assuming it is going to be leftist in its, feminist in its leanings. But I still am interested. I'm still willing to give it a try. I'm very, very interested. So, it may take me all month to read it, but I'm still very interested. So, okay. And the last book in this list is a classic. And if you've noticed, I'm somewhat on a classic bent, and that is going to carry over into 2025. So, this month it's going to be a reread, technically, of Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I read this decades ago. I undoubtedly read this when I was in my early teens. And I need to go through and separate some pages here very gently before I sit down to read this. And I am looking forward to rereading it. It has been a very long time since I read it. And I love this edition, so yeah. I have tissues ready. I know I'm going to need them. Okay, that is the November pile of possibilities. I am sure it is not reflective of everything I will read next month. I'm sure there's probably going to be a little bit of carryover from October. But, it's a pile of possibilities. I may or may not get to it all. And if you notice, there's no Dave books in here. I freely admit Dave has won the 24 and 2024 challenge. He is not issuing a challenge in 2025 because, yeah, I don't like it. The mood reader in me just cannot. So, I will eventually finish all the books he put on the list, but it isn't going to be in 24. And that concludes November's list. What are you reading in November? Anything I should, put on my radar? Leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and I will see you here next time at the Protagonist Pub.